Is the DA-led coalition government in Nelson Mandela Bay crumbling? In Johannesburg, the ANC, which is the official opposition, claims the city's finances are in a sorry state. Well, it's been a year since the DA formed coalition governments in various municipalities. Today, we ask, are they functioning or falling apart? The PolitBureau is now in session. I'm Xolim Gambi. Remember to join the conversation by sending us your WhatsApp video comments to the number 082-884-6370. In the PolitBureau to discuss the DA coalitions, I'm joined by analysts Dumsani Hlophe and Mcebisi Ndletyana. But first, we begin with the chaos that unfolded in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro as Deputy Mayor Mongameli Bobane was voted out of council by fellow coalition partners.
Don't collapse this unit just like that. It's not going to happen.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
It's illegal.
It's not a farm, this thing. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you now. It has collapsed now, but just take your things and leave.
Where to get 64?
Lying just like that.
Where to get 64?
Lying just like that.
Where to get 64? There's no 64 here.
There's no 64 here.
There's no 64 here.
My 59 about it's 50.
That's 59.
Not going to happen.
You can be able to see yourself, that man doesn't even want to greet me. He doesn't even want to talk with me. So, what kind of a person is that?
Well, gentlemen, the chaos down there has happened.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Prof. Ndletyana, if I could start with you about what's going on in Nelson Mandela Bay. Is it a personality clash between Trolip and Bobane, or is the problem much deeper than that, possibly political?
Well, coalition governments are very turbulent by their very nature because you don't have a majority party. You have to rely on cooperation with others. That cooperation depends on what you are discussing. And at some point, politicians like outsmarting each other. They want to claim credit. So you have a lot of jostling and competition. And these are people who've never worked together previously. So it takes a while to get into some kind of a rhythm. Yeah. In the case of Nelson Mandela Bay, though, is that Mongameli Bobane has been a troublesome fellow of a questionable character at that. He's had a very silly role in the council, in that if you think back, for instance, to 2013, he instituted a motion to oust Lindiwe Msenganandlela, who was a city manager. And at the time, the Bay had not had a city manager for 4 years. And he tried to do that for some unreasonable explanation, for instance, saying that she was not qualified. And yet he was part of the panel that had interviewed her. Reason for that was that she had come in and blocked all sorts of contracts that were illegal. In that instance, Bongani had made common cause with the ANC, who were trying to block this woman from blocking improper things. So Bobane is not at all honorable. We have to be clear about that. So this thing is collapsing purely on the basis of a very questionable character.
Let me bring you in then, Mr. Hlophe. Bobane is not a principled character, the prof here charges. There are also allegations that he's involved in corrupt activities. Is the strategy, though, to vote him out by the coalition partners the best way to go?
Well, I have no doubt that Ndletyana is correct in what he says. So I think the problem is, why did he get into that position in the first place? So I think the problem was how the UDM has managed its own internal processes of getting him into that position. Because if history shows that he is one of a questionable character, then it was clear that he was going to be a liability at that level. So perhaps he should not have been there in the first place. But you know, I think at this point in time, I think in this country there's seriously a general lack of smart politicking. I am not convinced that the situation should have degenerated into a vote of no confidence in the manner that it did, because not only does it impact on good governance in that part of the world, but it has a bearing on this all other coalitions that are happening in various metros that include the parties that are part of the Nelson Mandela Bay.
Prof. Ndlechana, is Ethel Trollip, though, for lack of a better word, is Ethel Trollip a man of upstanding and unquestionable principles, given that Bantu Holomisa says he's also implicated in the so-called corrupt activities? So why are we pointing fingers at Mongameli Bobani only?
When we argue these things, it has to be clear. We have to put the facts on the table and say, what has Trollip done? What we know, based on the coalition agreement, all coalition partners are supposed to attend caucus. They must not, the same caucus, they must not criticize each other. They must not speak badly in public about each other. And these are all the things that Bobani has done, even voting against his own coalition partners. These are things that are documented that Bobani has done. Then you come to Trollip. The question must be, what has he done? Yes, there is a report out there apparently that he's also implicated in this corruption that was apparently has happened there. But the point is, we don't know exactly what he has done. We are arguing purely on the basis of speculation. When it comes to Bobani, we know factually. So then there is no reason to blame Trollip over things that we do not even know. Let's have the facts on the table. So far, based on what we know, Bobani is the guilty fellow, unless something else comes up and then convinces us otherwise. Okay,
so Bobani is possibly out. We don't know what's going to happen, but a potential candidate to replace the ex-deputy mayor is now lurking in the wings. Patriotic Alliance councillor Marlon Daniels, who initiated the motion of no confidence against Mongameli Bobani, is dismissing any suggestion that he is an opportunist, despite being poised for that very position.
Normally, we are very good at creating opportunities for ourselves. We remember, God help those who help themselves. So if an opportunity is there, we'll create it. But this one we didn't create. It was brought upon us by the impasse.
What we're not going to be is blackmailed by one individual. So Bantu Holomisa says, for example, that he will extract the UDM from the coalition in Nelson Mandela Bay and continue in the other cities. To me, that doesn't make sense. That personalizes this issue, and it's not a principal issue.
Mr. Klope, what would be the consequences of the UDM withdrawing from this coalition, not just in Nelson Mandela Bay, but across other cities where they possibly govern with the DA?
Yeah, look, before I get into that, I think there was a statement released by the DA that said that they were actually waiting for the UDM to give them a candidate to replace the one that they've removed. So I'm not sure whether there is still a commitment, by the DA to provide for the UDM to provide a different person, to become the deputy, executive mayor. But if, part of me, it says that when you have a coalition, the first thing that you should always try to do is to sort your differences politically. Before you get into your typical process issues of council and then going into court and all of those kinds of issues. And I think that opportunity of sorting out this matter, politically has been missed. As a result, what you see now is the likes of Trollip taking a position, not necessarily a compromising, position, which is going to create hostilities, throughout where there are this coalition. But to make it even worse is the fact that if it comes to a choice between siding with the UDM or the DA, the EFF, which is an integral part of this coalition, it is likely to side with the UDM.
Prof. Ndlechana, let's bring you in. Dumzan Klope has already touched on it briefly, that the DA is not saying, no, UDM, you're out because, you're giving us Bobani. It's saying, give us another candidate, just not Bobani. Now, are they not playing double standards, though, the DA? Because back in August 2016, they refused flat out to do away with Herman Mashaba, because Herman Mashaba was the preferred candidate for the DA, and the EFF was saying no.
Yes.
Is Bantu Holomisa not giving, though, the DA a taste of its own medicine?
Well, these are two different cases. Mashaba was not even a mayor then. He hadn't even started. He had not caused any problems. Here you've had more than a year of someone who's just been troublesome all the way, right? So he is making that coalition, he's violating every principle in the agreement. There is no reason to keep someone who is working against the very coalition is supposed to assist. But on the side of the DA, I don't think this Patriotic Alliance coalition is a clever move, because this is a colored nationalist party. They are colored nationalist party. They are complaining that colored folks are not getting a good deal, this and that. They are focused on colored voters. They've been complaining that blacks are dominating all over. So this is not entirely a progressive party. And for a DA, which already has questionable credentials when it comes to black issues, to side with a pseudo-racist colored nationalist party, it's not good. So politically, it doesn't work well, right? So in any case, this is what they have. They have to get 60 or 61, and at the moment, the Patriotic Alliance gives them 60, which allows them to do certain things, but this is a mess. This is a stalemate, because you have 60-60 on both sides. They will need to vote on certain things where they will require 61%, and at the moment they don't have 61%, they only have 60, and the ANC also has 60. They can't vote the DA. They are threatening that they will they will remove Trolley, but with 60 they can't. They will need 61. So you have a permanent stalemate going forward. Something must give.
The EFF says, as a result of this saga, it may actually now withhold support for the DA across all the municipalities where they are giving support to the DA-led coalition. What would be the consequences if they made good on that threat?
Well, it will be a whole lot of hang metros. They wouldn't be able to operate. And I think it's something that we predicted, some of us back in, at the conclusion of local government elections, that, in a situation like this one where you need some serious transformation, you actually need one party to win overwhelmingly so that you know who to hold accountable. So these coalitions are actually not working, at least for now, and I don't think they are likely to work in the near future. But it also gives us an insight to say that all these issues of, the assumption that in 2019 there could be a coalition government formed by the opposition, I think the DA is actually crashing that.
All right, let's pause there, because you're touching on a point that I want to touch on after the break. Stay tuned. More from the PolitBureau right after.